As we go about our daily lives, it's easy to overlook the invisible struggles happening all around us. Today, we delve into the poignant world of care leavers. Across the country, thousands of young lives are marked by uncertainty and change. Each young person facing unique challenges and heartbreaks. This is a journey into the heart of resilience and compassion, exploring how society can better support its most vulnerable members. Join me as we shine a light on the often unseen experiences of care leavers and explore what it truly means to create a nurturing and hopeful future for all.
I'm Lawrence. I am a young person who's part of Carefree. Been part of Carefree for many years, since 2011, 2012. I'm fortunate enough to sit on the board of Carefree now, and it's a way of giving back to Carefree Cornwall.
Tell us about your housing journey, your situation.
So I went into foster care when I was 10 years old. From the age of 18, so post 18, I was fortunate enough to go down the stay and put bracket, which enrolls that I stayed basically with my foster carers, which was an amazing opportunity. I was staying put for about 2 to 3 years while I was in and out of my studies, working part-time to full-time, and now I'm fortunate enough to have my own flat.
So the familiarity of it all must be comforting, to say the least.
100%, yeah. Like I said, it kind of took the burden off my shoulders, having to go out and find somewhere to live. And I was in a loving environment. My foster parents have always helped me, and I wouldn't be the man I am today if my foster parents weren't around and I wasn't part of the stay and put setup. From a teenager going into a man, emotions, you want to be a man. You don't want to show emotions, but it is a very emotional journey. 16 to 18, you're stepping into that adulthood, and then 18 plus, you are an adult. But you're not an adult. You're not an adult until way down the line. You're still a kid, and you need that support bubble around you, and that's the difficult thing that young people in care don't have, which they should have more of. The housing situation in Cornwall in particular is quite dire. So there's a few avenues you can go down. There's sort of stay and put, which is what myself was. There's supported accommodation, which is where they try and find accommodation for young people post 18. And then there's homelessness, which obviously no one wants to be a part of the homelessness avenue. At the age of 11 was when I first encountered Carefree. Joining the care system is a very unique experience. It was very daunting. I was a very shy person when I first came down here, and obviously moving down from Cheshire, it was very different, but I had no friends, and Carefree was an opportunity for me to go out, go different places all around Cornwall and socialise and meet new young people. Part of my position being as a trustee, part of the board of Carefree Cornwall, is a way of me giving back to Carefree after all those years that they gave to me from a young age.
Hi, I'm Jimmy. I'm 21. My passion is baking. I went to college for 2 years. Should have taken me 3, but I excelled in my first year, which got me my second year.
What does supported living looks like for a care leaver?
Yeah, so I'll probably have to go back to when I first was put into care. So around 8 years old or something. Obviously, from there, you bounced around for a little bit. You haven't really got a stable place to live. So at the age of 16 to 18, I was in supported accommodation. And that was very helpful. They were very supporting. There was just a lot of things to do rather than doing nothing or by yourself. Going from when I turned 18, housing situation just turned to chaos. I didn't know where I was going. I didn't know where I was. I got put into a training flat. After the training flat, I was put into temporary accommodation for about 3 to 4 months. Due to me not having anywhere to go, there wasn't very much option. And then from there, my first and only viewing of a flat came up in Redroof, where I currently am still living. I already noticed there was stuff wrong with it, but I just took it. There wasn't much else I could really do but accept it, partly due to the circumstance of being in the COVID time and just the fact that the housing situation was so bad that that was the only place that I thought I could ever get. Going from 18 to be independent, you're by yourself, you're like very vulnerable at that kind of time. And so in my temporary accommodation definitely was not safe. I only had basically my door to block from other people. My health was actually getting worse because of where I was. So the levels of support I had when I was 18 to get my place was there. But then since I turned 21, the support has dropped off.
You're being classed as an adult.
But you have no voice.
No.
Yeah, it's like I have a place, great. It's just not ideal.
Jimmy, after everything that you've been through, how do you maintain the self-motivation and the light at the end of the tunnel?
Definitely, it's a hard learning curve going from like 16 to 18 to be by yourself where you're more independent. You go from semi-independent to be independent. And just like the motivation, all that kind of comes with being in the care system and being with Carefree, where you learn the hard way, where you're basically like, yes, you are independent, but you do have people to fall back on if you ever do need it. And it's like never giving up, basically. Just like keep going, and obviously good things come to those who wait.
I feel like the other side of it, like me being a lot older and have left the care system a long time ago, but working with care leavers and children in care, I think housing is like just, it's a general conversation now, but I just feel like housing is so hard. Like,
It's a hard one, isn't it? Because it's a bit of a pill to swallow when you turn 18, and it's such a difficult one because you can't, because of the community you've been brought up in. You go to school, there's like what, 2-3 care leavers in that year, maybe one, and you speak to your friends, and they've got really nice solid foundations of family, aunties, uncles, cousins
that they can stay with
exactly.
and financially rely on.
To talk about it.
Exactly, because it's such, you feel like a little bit of an outsider, which you're not. You still have a massive like, community behind you, but it's at the end of the day, you don't want to feel like a product. You're still a person. You're still the same as everyone else around.
It's the worry of like, if I say no to this place, when will my next chance be to get a property? Which is like, it could be worse, it could be better. It's just depending on what you can get.
That's the barrier that we faced before a housing crisis came in. So I feel like it's never ending now. There's so many issues to combat now. I mean, the general population are struggling for housing, and then it comes to our little barriers that we face.
but like you said, like you're not given the foundations. That's such a key word.
Yeah.
The foundations are like
100%.
they're non-existent. You know, in most care leavers' experience, the foundations aren't there, if not all.
You don't have that close-knit network as like most families do.
We're now going to meet Charlie, who's going to talk about his journey from homelessness to independent living. Charlie chose not to appear on camera.
So my housing journey went from being in care, put into care at the age of 4.5. I was in care all up until just before my 20th birthday. During that time I lived in 9 different foster placements. When I turned 18 and sort of started living on my own, I went from being in care to then moving 200 miles away up to Reading on my own with no support, so it was quite difficult. And then I went to university, so that was like a dorm. But then, due to health reasons and things, I was removed from there and put in a hotel back down in Cornwall. And so that made me then effectively homeless. So I was then bouncing around a lot between hotels and friends' sofas and hotels again. And there were a lot of times where it felt I had no one, but then someone would come running in and help me out and point me in the right direction where I could get some help or could get some support somewhere. And it made dealing with a lot of these issues that you'd find with not knowing where you're going to go and what's going to happen next, or where your next meal's coming from, a lot easier to deal with. Because it gets to a point where you're not sure and you kind of start giving up hope. And then someone comes along and actually says, hold on, go that way, see if this helps, or go that way, see if this helps, or here, here's some money or some food or whatever. And it just kind of gives you that motivation to keep going again. But then through the support of my PA, allowed me to get myself back on my feet and sort myself out. It also helped me in finding where I live now, and I live in a lovely little one-bedroom flat with my partner. So yeah.
In this short film, we have touched on the realities these young people are facing, from the trauma of separation to the hope found in new beginnings. We have met young people navigating the complexities of the care system, heard their stories, their fears and dreams.
You seem to have us all mistaken, taken for a lazy generation, awaiting a revelation. My third eye chakra's awaken. I'm sitting at the door waiting, investigating every lie they saying, built on self-image and the meds that we're taking. F is for faking, T is for taking, P is for painstaking medications, accusations, but you don't see us hating. But I'm sitting here waiting. I got a pen for a door and a book for a shed, with a phone for a gate, so I think I'll paint it red. I want a house to myself, 4 walls and a floor, a place to call my home, with some windows and a door.